An important part of this initiative is to encourage capacity building, because it's only when countries embed their own strategies to achieve good road injury prevention that you will see such positive results that are sustained over a long period of time. And a very important part of this is good governance in these programs. When you look at what works in road injury prevention, it requires good, transparent data collection. It requires cooperation between government departments with civil society.
It's going to require policy change at the local level and make sure that we take the actions that are necessary to protect human lives. We have the ability to do it, and it's really time to act.
Every country should have a lead agency to propagate the issues of road safety. That there's a need for ownership of road safety, and somebody should be accountable for issues of road safety. Somebody should be able to evaluate performance in road safety.
Without having data, without having knowledge, you cannot conduct rational policies. You have to know what your problems look like. You have to analyze the nature of the problem. So if a country would say road safety is important for us, then one of the important things is to start with good road safety data systems together with capable, knowledgeable people knowing how to analyze data. And that's a matter of capacity building.
At the police level, data management, it is a big challenge for us. We actually collect data, but it is still manual. And we currently have a statistician, but still the softwares are not really in place to facilitate what she's doing. But what I've even seen here, the people analyzing the data are engineers, and so they use it to sort out the engineering problems on the road, which is not yet a step back home.
Do we have, for example, do we have a database system where across Africa we know what is happening in terms of road safety? Do we have a credible database system across the platform of Africa so that we can understand the problem from the viewpoint of data and to be able to get the trends? It's very important you know what your neighbor, you know the kind of problems that are going on in your neighboring country. You can only know that through data.
Because a lot of countries may not have the capacity to know how many people get injured and how many get killed. Most of the numbers that come from a lot of developing countries are based on police estimates, and the police may not know who's getting injured, who's getting killed. So we believe that the best way to come up with these types of estimates is to actually turn to all potential sources of information and from there triangulate upwards to a national snapshot of what's happening in the country. If you compare the estimates that we come up with in this type of exercise, you find that the numbers are typically, even for deaths, about 4 to 5 times the numbers reported by police.
Just now at the beginning of the decade, we're starting the data collection for the baseline survey. A new status report will come out in 2012 with 2010 data, showing where we were at the start of the decade. And then every 2 or 3 years, with support from many partners, with support from all the governments of the world, we'll be able to compile a report and point, on one hand, to the progress, but with the other hand also point to the gaps and where more effort is needed.
When we studied our statistics that average 55 to 60 people dying every month on the roads of the city, the statistics told me that more than 20 of them are two-wheeler riders. So my area of focus was defined that I have to first concentrate on them. Number 2, late night accidents. Who is committing it? Drunk driving. Second area of focus. Once this is defined, then comes the road engineering, educating people, and then providing better road furniture and amenities which will prevent accidents. We went one by one. So it can be done. Fatalities can be reduced.
We have a range of tools now that we've developed, particularly tools for countries to do a capacity assessment, to diagnose themselves the situation they're in and what they're going to need to do to be able to successfully manage road safety outcomes. But what we're now beginning to see is a higher level of political engagement, high level of interest being shown by ministers, by officials, by the private sector, by NGO groups, in seeing that this is an issue that's indeed needs to be addressed.
We have a global plan, we have commitment, we need to make sure that this commitment translates in concrete action. For example, that only 15% of countries have the right legislation on some key risk factors such as drink driving, speed, seatbelt wearing and motorcycle helmet wearing, which means 85% of countries don't have that. One of our objectives in the decade is to move from 15 to 50% of countries having the right legislation in place.